Hello, once again, thank you for joining us on Bonga Futaa. We still are going back behind the scenes to be able to find out what's going on. And we've brought you very many stories about Kenyan football. You know the intrigues that is going on Kenyan football, but it's never enough. You always need more information, especially from the people who matter themselves. Today, we are in the den. We are at AFC Leopards. And of course, we've met our very good friend, Dan Shikanda, now the chairman of AFC Leopards. One man who has played both for Gor Mahia and for AFC Leopards. Now, that's a story that will haunt him for a little while. Now he's the chairman here. Also wondering whether he'll one day be the chairman of Gor Mahia. No, of course not, of course. I know the fans will tear him apart for that. But Dan Shikanda is the chairman of AFC Leopards. Thank you very much for joining us. We need to talk about AFC Leopards. It's one of the most successful clubs in Eastern Central Africa. One of the most successful in Kenya, one of the biggest clubs commanding one of the hugest followings in Africa in terms of a fan base, which makes it a very difficult club to run as well. Where are we with FC Leopards at the moment?
Thanks, Bernard. What I can say, FC Leopards at the moment is work in progress. And I came in with one objective. I played for this club, and I realized when we were playing, structures were not in place, both physical and also, I can say...
structural, administrative, and all that, yeah.
Everything. Yeah. And it was interesting when we started the campaign of actually coming to run AFC Leopards. So I think, in a nutshell, what I need to do before I leave this seat, before I leave this office, is to make sure that I put the structures in place so that we can have a professional football club. Because we cannot be calling ourselves a football club established in 1964 and we have nothing whatsoever to show about football. We don't have our own pitch, our own field to train. We don't have, at least now we have a physical office. You can come here and actually you feel you are at the den. And eventually I think I need to set in place a motion or a momentum of having our own stadium. We must go there, Bernard. There's no shortcut.
It's a long-term plan, you know.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself too hard. I mean, you found a structure and you're trying to work on it, so don't beat yourself too hard. But I remember at one time in this club, you were not wanted, including up to a time when you had to have a very quick election. What was happening that time?
I think, as I've said in our intro, lack of structures made things difficult for this club. And when fans react, they think, for example, I played for FC, then I went to Gor Mahia. So they think you're part of the problem. Why did you leave? Why did you do this? And there's been a lot of animosity. You remember while working for Supersport, while we were at Thika Stadium, it was FC, I don't know playing what.
Must have been Thika United.
The results, the results did not go very well for FC. And during our normal analysis, we pointed out the weaknesses for FC, and some people are not happy with me because how can you come and discuss our weaknesses? Maybe you should be doing something to make sure that we don't have those weaknesses. And they took it very negative to the point of where they wanted to beat me up.
I remember they threw rocks at us and you as well that time. But this is normal with fun.
It's normal.
When you have a club that has got a big fan base like AFC Leopards and Gor Mahia. But we're not even focused on that now. You are now the chairman. You are elevated above all these things. Let's talk more serious things. Issues of finance are bedeviling a lot of clubs, especially the community clubs. And I'm talking about there's also a disparity between rich community clubs and poor community clubs. We must admit. Now, AFC Leopards is considered a rich community club, not a poor community club. You know, rich, yes. Kisumu All Stars is a poor community club. The question is, what you found in AFC Leopards, is it helping you to move forward the club in the direction that you want? I'm talking about funding here.
Bena, when I got into this office, after about a month, in fact after 26 days, our sponsor walked away. He had a lot of issues with the government, so there was nothing. I actually found a shell. I'd just finished recruiting players. My wage bill had actually jumped to about 4.3, 4.4
million shillings.
Million shillings per month.
Yes. It's about $400,000 US.
The sponsor walks away. What are you supposed to do? At that time, the team leaves for pre-season to Mumias the following day. So what I did, You know, once you're in the hot seat, I've been in management in a number of corporates, and at times when you do your SWOT analysis, you want to know where your weaknesses are, where the strengths are. I try to rely on the strengths. This is one of the most followed, one of the biggest clubs in this region. Can we actually hang on to the members and they become sponsors? Because our main sponsor has gone. He was giving the club 57 million per year. All of a sudden, you don't have that money. And you've done recruitment, you've gotten players from, you've brought in foreigners, and they have to be paid salaries. We had to bite the bullet. I thank God because of the new management model where we only have 3 officials. We sat down, looked at each other straight in the eye, and asked ourselves, what can we do? Should we throw in the towel? Because the demands were just too much. So we said, let's start.
So you're talking about a leaner management team.
Leaner management.
Does that work better than what you had before?
It works better.
Is it because of decision making or?
Yes,
okay.
It's because of decision making. We decide, the 3 of us, what can we do? It will take us a lot of time. We will say
it takes less time when you have a smaller team.
We can fundraise. Yes. The 3 of us, we agree on a solution. We say, let's run with this. It was very easy to agree. Yeah, maybe 2 will be on one side, 1 will be on one side. Then we go into the nitty-gritties. Then agree, okay, let's try this. That really saved me. And I think when you're working with professionals, yeah, my treasurer is an accountant working for World Bank. My secretary works for a leading parastatal. They are well educated. Let me just use that. And you see, when you have a problem in hand and you have professionals who are looking at what we need to do, that was, I say, the saving point for this club. Because we didn't have any time for politics. We just told ourselves, we've been elected, we found ourselves in this club together. We're having an issue, the sponsor has walked away. What do we do to make sure that the club meets its primary objective of honoring all its matches, of making sure that we don't give any walkovers? We make sure the boys are in good shape to go and play football.
Okay. Now, you've mentioned some very, very tough institutions there. Had the World Bank, had the big parastatal. So I'm hoping that some of this money will trickle down to the club as well. But this is still about funding as well. The World Bank funds a lot of projects in different countries. But unfortunately, I've not seen them funding sports. And so I would assume that you would get your money from the sports fund or from the government of Kenya. This sports fund that had been established, has it trickled down to FC Leopards?
Nope, it hasn't. And it's very interesting, Bernard. If you look at I blame it on our culture. The culture of this country still treats sports, more so football, as a hobby, not as a profession. I think people think that those people who play football are failures.
They have nothing else to do.
They have nothing else to do. They failed in various fields.
Yes.
But for heaven's sake, football is the biggest industry in the world. I have been paid school fees by this club, AFC Leopards. In fact, what I'm doing now is to give back. I come from a family of 9 siblings. At a given time, Alfred Sambu was paying school fees for 4 of us in secondary school. So when you look at football as a hobby or a pastime, or where those who cannot do anything constructive go, we tend to start losing the plot on football. Let me just give you a quick example. If you look at the cabinet when it was being named, from Moi's time, let me not say now. Now at least we have serious people in sports. Who was being given the sports docket? You can guess for yourself. So you look at a scenario and you say, huyu kwa vile alitusaidia kwa campaign na sioni anaweza fanya kitu kingine.
It's political rewarding and it's still
let him go to sports.
Yes, but it's still going on up to now.
They were not picking serious professionals
No.
to go and make sure that sports is run professionally. Football is the biggest industry in the world. It's unfortunate that where we are, for example, where I am with the FC now, we have not yet started generating our money. But I can assure you this, I am looking forward to a day when this club will generate its own money. It won't have to rely on Shikanda or on a big politician. to get things moving.
Let's talk about that a little as well, because you've talked about the funding and all that. We haven't answered the question about the sports fund and the government of Kenya stimulus, but let's talk about where you want to go with it. You're talking about it relying on itself. Is there any concrete plan to turn the club into a company or into an income-generating enterprise?
Definitely, there is. And I can assure you, when you go somewhere, the most important thing you need to do is you need to have a template. I'm happy we are through with our strategic plan. It's a 3-year strategic plan. We are slightly behind schedule. We should be launching it soon. It's unfortunately the pandemic came in before we launched it. And that strategic plan is a roadmap on where we need to take this club.
Can you give me a sneak peek? What does it involve? Does it involve buying shares in the club? Does it involve, looking for investors in the club? What does it involve, this strategic plan?
We have 5 pillars. We have membership pillar, we have sporting pillar, we have investment pillar, and we have, we actually want to build an economy around FC. If you look at what has been happening in just our neighbors here, Simba and Yanga have managed somehow to build some activity around.
But they're heavily sponsored.
Their football.
No, but they're heavily sponsored.
They're heavily sponsored. Remember, Mo Mohammed, who is like sponsoring Simba, gets a lot of support from Simba background, from Simba members. Most of his business are driven by
the products that he's got in the market are mass products.
A mass product,
yes.
And they're actually patronized by Simba fans.
Absolutely.
So what we are trying to do at FC Leopards, first and foremost, we need actually to convince our members that this is the topmost club in this country. That once you rally behind it, you can actually run the club. For example,
Hang on, Daktari. I like your train of thought, but I'm thinking, as a club, as FC Leopards, you want to enter into it somewhere after it is being rebuilt. This is what I mean. In Tanzania, the products that are being done by the company that is run by the
Mo Mohammed, the Simba patron,
is a mass product. So by virtue of the fact that people are buying those products, he's able to put money back in there. Let's take the Kenyan situation. There are products that are being patronized heavily by fans of FC Leopards, fans of the community clubs. Are they putting money in the clubs?
No, they're not.
That's what we should address then.
Our fans are consumers. And there is where we want to go. For example, we came up with this water, which we are still looking for distribution channel and to see what to do. What we actually want to do, we want this fan of ours to patronize a number of things that they use on a daily basis, because they're basically consumers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And once we go that way, they'll start attaching the value of the club with a few things they do. And we want them to realize that it is their responsibility to make sure that they can actually support this club indirectly, not donating, not just giving money.
No, feeling like they've gotten something back.
They've gotten some value back when they're supporting the club. And if you look at the strategic plan we are talking about, we want also to go deep into football business, because this is a club.
Business of football.
Yeah, this is a club where we can actually. Why don't we tap talent around the country and prepare it maybe to go out? So we are trying to see how we can invest in that. When we came in, definitely everybody this club has taken 22 years before they've gotten any results. So we had to come up with a number of quick fixes. I think you watched us play the last season. We are somehow getting somewhere. We are not yet there. We are work in progress. I can assure you our team this year will be better than last year's, and we want to compete. Once we start competing with the big boys, we are sure we'll attract as many people as possible. We will bring back the euphoria and the passion in football. Then we will start building the structures we want to build.
Okay. I hear you very clearly, but I'll still take you back to issue of sponsorship and issue of money, which is the backbone of running the club as well. And I still want to find out from you, what is the product that you will be giving to the... If I am interested in being an investor at FC Leopards and I come to you, I want to know the product. How do you sell FC Leopards?
At the moment, I know we are stuck with people coming in and trying to use it as a stepping stone to other ventures. But what we want to do sell
the product to me. Here I am. Here I am. Tell me. I am interested in buying the product. What is the product?
Okay.
You see, if it was this, you tell me this is water,
This
it's
is
500 mLs, it is this much. What is the product you're selling to me?
Bernard, this is the biggest community, the biggest club in this region. And what this club has lacked is just patrons to make sure that they can actually leverage on the club's brand to get anywhere they want to go. For example, if you are a business person, you will easily get your products well known to the entire region by actually leveraging on AFC product, on AFC brand, because this is one of the club that everyone is interested to know what it's doing, where it's getting its income from, what results it's getting on the pitch, and as a team, where we want to take it. We want to take it back to where it was, so that when we get results on the pitch, we want to make sure that anyone associated with the club can definitely have a visibility in this country and in this region. Okay,
well, obviously Dr. Shikanda is very passionate about where he wants to take the club, and he has a route map for it. Of course, you know that there's no route that is always just flat and smooth. There's hiccups along the line, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Now, unfortunately, some of these hiccups also come from just the government of the Republic and the sports ministry and all the other structures that are put in place. But let's take a breather. Then we come and talk about whether you got the stimulus package from the government of Kenya, whether COVID has affected the club itself, whether the sports fund is trickling down, and anything else that we need to do to get AFC Leopards to where it is. Let's take a small break. When we come back, we have a lot more to discuss about AFC Leopards. So welcome back to Bonga Futaa. Obviously, this time around, we found someone who's got the passion of football and is pushing it to, I almost thought he's the one who's interviewing me now and not the other way around because of the information he's giving me. But I still have to go back to the same issue of funding, because that seems to be the main problem with Kenyan clubs. And I mentioned earlier, we have institutional clubs that have money. We have slightly poorer institutional clubs as well. We have community clubs that are rich, community clubs that are poorer. And FC Leopards ranks among the slightly richer community clubs. But they were also beneficiaries of the sports of the government of Kenya stimulus package. Did you receive it? How much was it? How has it helped the players?
I think, yes, we received it, and we thank the Ministry of Sports for that stimulus. Although it was little, it was 10,000 per player, and unfortunately it was not covering the foreign players, so we had to cover our foreign players. But all said and done, it was a good gesture, at least to cushion them against the COVID effects. And I thank God at that time, we had pushed as a management, and we had made sure we knock each and every door to make sure that we bring some relevance into our football in terms of, you actually mentioned the corporate clubs being rich, but I can tell you for free, the budgets these corporate clubs are being given is too little for them to be rich. Rich is a relative word. And if you look at FC, we have actually been struggling with the little money that we have, but everybody out there believes that there's been so much money in Leopards, and we wanted to make sure that we can bring this country to a standstill and make sure that the corporates can start participating in our football. And that's why you find that when we were going to play Gor Mahia, we were the home team. And we asked ourselves, what can we do to make this derby different? We told ourselves, one of our supporters had donated a bus to us. So we said, can we reach the head of state? So that if we can endorse what we have been doing and what football is all about, we think corporates can start getting interested in our football in this country. Because to be honest, corporates, if you look at the kind of money Safaricom's, the equities, these big corporates make vis-a-vis what is in football. For example, Gor Mahia won the league the other season. Leave alone this one they were given. The other season, they were not given anything.
There's no prize money.
There's no prize money, there is nothing. Yet we have a sports fund. That's why we wanted to get the attention of the topmost office in this country.
It's signed.
If you look at this ball, it's signed by the head of state.
Yes.
We actually went to him and told him the problems that are in football in this country. And yet, football can employ so many youths in this country and can alleviate a lot of suffering on youths, especially the lack of employment. If we focus on football and if the corporates can actually start channeling some money, yeah, those obscene profits of theirs into making sure that football runs professionally, we can get somewhere.
What did he say? What did he say?
I'm happy. We went with our many problems. Of course, one of them was we were crybabies. Oh, Nyayo has been closed. We go to Machakos. But he challenged us. He told us Nyayo belongs to the government. Nyayo Stadium belongs to the government. A club of your stature needs to be having its own stadium. And we reminded him, Your Excellency, there's some land the former president had given us. So we actually started following it. And at the moment as we speak, we are somewhere in some advanced stages on getting the land back. And he challenged us, get it back and we see what we can do. You need a stadium, first and foremost. And I'm happy he actually directed the Ministry of Sports to fast track the completion of Nyayo Stadium. Bernard, we have been losing a lot of money going to play in Machakos. I can assure you, if I play my matches at Nyayo Stadium, I will be raising. It will be like somebody is giving me 2 million like this each weekend. 2 million each weekend will help me prepare this club, will help me start thinking on other infrastructures that we need to fix in this club. So holistically, we got the attention of the head of state.
You did.
We talked about the sports fund, which had not helped sports in this country, maybe some little pockets here and there. And we challenged also him, we told him, if our top league was being sponsored maybe to the tune of 200 million by the sports fund, which is some drop in the ocean if you compare what is in the sports fund, it will actually create a lot of interest in the youths of this country as they grow coming up playing football. Because they'll start seeing some value in football. For example, if we FC win the league and we challenge our members, we challenge the government, if we win this league, we want each player to be given a house. It can happen. It will be a good stimulus to the young ones who are actually aspiring to play for the top clubs in this country. But when they hear stories that there's nothing you get when you achieve those results, they will give up.
Absolutely. So you presented all this to the head of state, but let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning, Dan. Getting houses and all these things come after a very long spell in good organization of football. It's a long developmental kind of program to be able to get that. We have to start somewhere at the beginning. In Kenya at the moment, we are struggling between the federation and the Premier League. There's supposed to be a transition. What's your take about what is going on at the moment? Has the season ended? Do you know what the position are you happy with where you ended at the position you ended in? What's going to happen in terms of this transition? Are you part of this transition?
I think the season has ended because it was unfortunate that it ended abruptly. And something very interesting, somebody had foreseen this when they were doing some handbook between the federation and the clubs, the Premier League clubs. The unfortunate thing is that we were not enlightened, so we didn't know. So when this happened and there was that abrupt end, all of us were trying to interpret the rules differently. But anyway, all said and done, I think the season is done. I don't know how the federation will reach, on who they will reach to represent the country come next season, but from my desk where I sit as Dan Shikanda and FC Leopards, what we are saying, let the season be null and void. Let Gor Mahia and Bandari represent us for the fact that they represented us last season. So if this
that's
season,
in Champions League,
in Champions League and the Cup winners. If this season is null and void, they have the automatic slots because of being champion and being the winners of the Winners' Cup. The transition that is there, I think.
But that also means that then the teams that were relegated should be reinstated.
Yes.
Okay.
To me, I can say, from where I sit, that's the most logical thing to do. But everybody has their own take and their own interpretation.
I'm asking for your opinion now. Yes.
That's my personal opinion and where we sit as AFC Leopards. You had asked something about the transition. Yes, Bernard, we have been having KPL. You saw the problems we had with KPL. It was unfortunate. I felt as a failure. And I discussed it with a number of chairmen. One, when Sony was leaving. Remember, we were the first team that Sony gave a walkover. I got a call from one of the officials and he told me, Shikanda, we are having these problems, we shall not honor your match. And even the guy just told me, players don't even have lunch. I thought the guy was pulling my leg. But when it happened that they didn't honor the match, I raised it with a number of people who were key in KPL about if this is happening, then there's somewhere we are not going right. But it was unfortunate. I can say we had only one meeting. Since I was elected chairman of AFC, I only attended one KPL meeting. And I thought from deep inside me, maybe we were not planning enough to maybe...
You think you should be meeting more often? And
we should be meeting more
issues?
often, discussing our problems, seeing how they'll be solved. For example, when the sponsor pulled out, we had to pay referees as a club. I am sure myself and maybe one of the club's chairman, there's a friend of ours, I thought if we could have gone and faced him, the two of us, we could have got sponsorship for the referees. But everybody was reluctant. Everybody was, things will happen. And things were not happening. It's been a difficult year, Bernard. To host one match at Machakos, when I take FC to Machakos, when I do the bare minimum, it costs me 150,000, bare minimum. Now here...
Is that just for logistics, you mean?
Yeah, logistics. I'm not even counting, I'm not even putting the cost that I'll incur on the club, on my team, going for camp,
training,
transport. No.
Yeah, all that. You're only talking about you have arrived at the stadium.
I'm the home team.
You're the home team.
I have to hire an ambulance. Yes. I have to hire ball boys. I have to put security in place. I have to hire the stadium. I have to make sure that there is...
Well, you have to have the security, the gatesman,
the
VIP area is taken care of.
150,000. And now here, somebody is telling us there is nothing the clubs will get. So, I think what the transition needs to do, as we transit from KPL to FKF PL, we should make sure that structures are in place to ensure that there has to be continuity in terms of sponsorship, because we can't be the top tier league without sponsor.
Let's talk about this sponsorship, because it keeps on coming up. You have a separate sponsor as a club.
Yes.
And there was money that was given to clubs, and I hope it got to you as well, again from a different titled sponsor. How do you marry the two? And how do you explain the fact that you probably get less than your arch rivals every time? Why?
Bernard, you see, when I came to FC Leopards and I looked at our wage bill, I realized there's a problem. Because where you have a low wage bill, where you are paying players, for example, you are a professional. I cannot hire you with 5,000. I know there'll be a problem. The services,
US dollars or Kenya shillings?
Kenya shillings. The services you'll give me will be worth that 5,000.
Absolutely.
I know when we signed this contract, a lot of people are, Shikanda, you did not negotiate well. You should. A sponsor comes in to meet certain obligations. So if you supply your sponsor with a wage bill of 4.5 or 4.3 million shillings, and he covers 4.4, he's met his obligation. And at the end of the day, if my rivals are paying players, their wage bill is 6 million, that sponsor will cover that 6 million. Okay. Because he's coming to cover the basics that will make you play and make you play well.
So that is how AFC then happens to get slightly lower than their arch rivals. That's the explanation you're giving. That a sponsor will have the obligation and decide, I'm paying your wage bill and your wage bill is this. So
and again, a sponsor will look at other factors.
Okay.
Our rivals were actually playing in Continental, and if you look at the expenses were slightly high.
Yes.
So although we didn't expect the disparity to be that huge,
Okay.
yeah, but again,
You've explained it. Yes.
if you look at things the way we are supposed to do, we're supposed to go for the topmost players, pay them well, so that when somebody comes on board and tells me, Shikanda, where can I help you? I'll tell him, help me on my wage bill. How much is your wage bill? 7 million. If he pays the 7 million, he's paying for me top players in this country. But if my wage bill is 3 million, which means I'm paying players how much? If IFC, I'm paying players 60,000, and my arch rivals with other clubs are paying players 150, 250, 300,000.
Yeah, it means
then
you can't get the
can't
top
get
quality players, and that brings me to the next question as well. You know, in spite of the fact that the season, we don't know when it's going to start, the 2019-2020 season, we don't know when it's going to start. The question is, teams are recruiting. Are the Leopards recruiting as well? Teams are recruiting.
Before I answer that, there is a question we had asked about us having BetSafe and then
one
and the money.
Did you take money from the other sponsors?
Yes, we got the money from the other sponsors.
Sorry.
The obligations of these two sponsors, for example, BetKing will have the rights for the league.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything they do, their rights will emanate from the league. BetSafe will have the rights of the club, AFC Leopards. They'll be our shirt sponsor.
Okay.
We'll put them here. They will be, like, for example, you can see a banner behind me. These are their rights. So I cannot put BetKing here because they don't have any right there.
Okay.
But when they're sponsoring the league, when I go to play on the pitch playing against another team, I'll be wearing BetKing Premier League. So those are their rights. And then the billboards on the pitch, those will be, they'll have a certain percentage. So many people have been questioning.
You have BetKing on the side, and then you have BetSafe on your chest.
This is the right for my sponsor,
Yes.
BetSafe. BetKing, the right is here.
On the
and
on
then
the sleeves.
they will have more billboards on the pitch.
Of course.
They will have more, when we are talking about BetKing Premier League,
Yes.
we'll be having their banners behind us.
Of course, there'll be more visibility for them,
Yeah.
Especially in broadcast stands as well.
So there is those differences. So there is no any
There's no
clash of interest here.
And this you have talked with your sponsors, and
Yes.
they told you there is no clash.
There is no clash whatsoever. A few people are trying to bring it to make it an issue, the Kenyan way. Oh, refuse this, refuse that. Bernard, we have actually presided these clubs with no money.
All right,
Any money you get,
I understand.
you must make sure you utilize it.
Let's go to recruiting. You
Yes.
know, but many people say that AFC Leopards recruits pegged on what their arch rivals have recruited.
No.
And that if their arch rivals recruit from Uganda, AFC will go to Uganda. If they recruit from Rwanda, AFC, and that comparison for some reason has worked detrimentally to the team. You know, that comparison every time to the other club. The question is, the other club is recruiting and they're announcing it. Are you recruiting?
I think the other club, of course, there is no team in this country that is going to play in the Premier League is not recruiting. It's only that the other club, our neighbors are a bit noisy. They'll want everything to be out there. We're actually playing our role, we know, and it is very interesting because you find that what you said, that when they recruit from Uganda, we recruit from Uganda.
Yes.
Nope. I think they follow us wherever we go.
Oh, you go there first and then
We
they
go there
after
first
you.
and then they come.
Okay.
And if I look at what has happened like now, the players we've been chasing,
Yes.
very interesting. It's like they've also been chasing.
You're chasing the same players.
We are like chasing the same players.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this
And
rivalry extends even to just recruitment. It
Yeah.
can't just be on the field alone.
No.
It-
Even on recruitment, we have won some, they've won others, but I can assure you of a very interesting Premier League come this season.
Pegged on the recruitment.
Pegged on the recruitment, pegged on the little sponsorship that we have. Remember, both teams never had any monies last season. Gor Mahia lost about 68 million. We lost about 57 million when the sponsor walked
So
away.
even in terms of losses, there's still competition.
There's still competition. They lose, we lose. And now recruiting, it has been very, very, very hot because we have pushed these players, and they had a slight advantage over us because they are playing in the Continental,
Yes.
and a few
Well,
of the
players
players
would
made
prefer to
that
go there,
decision to go there because of Continental.
Doc, tell me something. There's something that we are considering a little bit of a crisis at the moment. With clubs not paying players, not because not for reasons of their own making. With players going 2 months without payment, they technically become free agents.
Yeah.
And they can leave at any time. Is this affecting your club as well?
Yes, it's affecting my club. But the beauty about it, I sat down with my players and I told them, we're in a crisis. The sponsor has left. Us as management will do the best that we can do to make sure you are slightly comfortable. Bernard, it's been the most difficult year I've ever had in my many years. Let me not tell you my years.
I know.
You'll be surprised.
I know. We played football together.
In my many years.
So
when you are talking to a young father and you're telling them, you're playing football for FC and I'm not giving you a salary, I'm trying to meet your basics, maybe I'll pay for you rent and I'll do one or two things, it is very difficult. But I can tell you, I have a very good crop of players because they actually had us and we worked together. When money came, that's why when we got some little money and COVID was on, we said we will not pay you half salary. I want to have your debt so that before I leave this seat, Bernard, I have it in my bedroom, on the wall, my players and the months that we have not paid. I will make sure we pay that money. And I can say the difference between us and other clubs, we actually opened up to our players and told them, we will do our best. And one of my players, the goalkeeper, in fact called me one day and told me, life to him seems to be a mystery. Because he was in Kenya, for 4 months he was not paid, and he was playing. He went to Uganda when the pandemic began. He was there for 4 months without playing, and he was paid his full salary. So to him it was, what is this? We had other people walking away from us. They walked out on us. But I told those who remain, please be patient. We don't know about tomorrow. Let's try and do, you meet your obligation, we are trying to meet our obligation. And that thing, to be honest with you, Bernard, is always haunting me. Even now, you need to build a team. Of course, there are players you'll drop. There are players, especially the ones you're dropping, and you know where you've come from them. You don't need to be emotional. You want to move this club to the next level. You have to release a player telling him that, yeah, we have had your services, but here we want to do this and this. But when you flash back, this guy was with you 4 months without pay. But as management, we tried with a few friends around us and the branches and members of the club. We paid the little pressures they had: rent, your wife is sick, is in hospital, your child is sick, you need to pay for exams you'll do, you need to do this. Anything they were bring, we see what to do. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Seems like difficult times for AFC Leopards, but do you think FIFA can help the situation of football, especially in Kenya? I'm talking about FIFA versus Kenya, country versus World Football Governing Body. We are always being told if you do this, we're going to be banned. What's your opinion about where we are in our standings with FIFA?
Bernard, you see, in anything you do, for example, FIFA is like a government, and you, as a family man, as a household, yeah, you must put your act right in your house first before the government helps you. I can assure you for free, if we can put our house in order in Kenya, we'll benefit a lot from FIFA. Because people talk about, FIFA looks at us and knows, football, this is the protocol, this is what is supposed to happen. And when they say government interference, when they say this other interference, what they want we as footballers, we as a football stakeholder, to run our affairs amicably, so that there's no interference from, let's say, the government, from any other busybodies. So if we can put our act together, and as I said before, this is the biggest industry in the world. FIFA sends a lot of money in this country just to help us with the basics. Mm-hmm. So if we can put our house in order, and to be honest, I can say the current regime which was there has tried doing something, because I am trying to compare it with the Nyamwea's time and even the Sambu's time, and then the current regime which has been here. I never supported them, but I can, when I look at myself in the mirror, I can say nowadays I see International Week, there's something happening in our country.
One of the best things that happened is that we aligned our calendar to the international calendar. So now I think we are exporting more players. But I'm more concerned about the writing on the ball. It is there. And the fact that you were told that the stadia belong to the government. Now, this just means that you can never tell people not to have government interference in football. The stadia belongs to the government.
It's a fact.
The passports belong to the government.
It's a fact, yeah.
So we can never say that we cannot condone government interference. But the government funding and stimulus might not benefit you that much. Tell me more about what we are seeing on the table here, apart from the writing on the ball. I see that there's a nice mug here with the logo of FC Leopards. You've got water as well. How do you exactly expect this to translate into good tidings for the club?
As I told you, Bernard, FC Leopards is a big brand. And if we don't build an economy around it, we will lose a lot of opportunities. For example, people walk into shops and buy mugs. They buy mugs. If at the end of the day we'll put this on a shelf, there'll be people who will be biased to buy this. In different designs. There'll be people who will be biased to buy this. We are opening a shop, a merchandise shop, stroke replica. It will be the first one. And once that starts working, we want to go and talk to the Naivas.
Where will that be based?
It is in the city center.
City center. But you want to
Moy Avenue.
You want to merchandise it to other supermarkets as well.
Yeah. We want to move to the supermarkets and tell them, please stock this for us. We know we'll get some little money, but the little money we'll get will help me fuel the bus to take my team to the venue. This, I think, our people are consumers. I can assure you, once this will hit the shelves, other people will be biased to buy this water. Tomorrow, maybe, we shall have an ingwe fry. We've been having golden fry, we've been having dash, this fry. So somebody will want, because they are an ingwe, they'll want to cook with our ingwe.
Not because it gives a particular flavor.
No. Just meaning
or that the water has a particular FC Leopards flavor.
Yes. Tomorrow we want to have milk in the name of FC Leopards. You saw what Tuzo did with our rivals.
Again, yes, those are big.
So we want to build an economy around FC and move it.
All right.
But at the end of the day, where do you want to go with this club? Yes, I am aware we need to make sure that we turn this club into a company, whereby I will not just be a busybody out there singing Ingwe and I cannot help it. Yeah? If people buy shares, when there is something you can see, when you see a field, you see a stadium belonging to FC and you're told to buy shares.
You want to put structures in place. Okay,
Dr.
I appreciate your vision for the club as well, but I also know that you are a little apolitical. I mean, you have always been interested. You have vied for a political seat before. And people say that a lot of chairmen in clubs are in it because of the big following that FC Leopards and other community clubs have, to propel themselves into politics. Is that the direction?
Nope. I think when people come to FC or any other club to use it as a stepping stone to politics, they want name recognition. They are not known, and there are many of them. Alfred Sambu or Paranya, by the time they were coming to FC, no one knew anything about them. They just had money, so now they wanted the money to work for them, and they came to FC and they were known. I came into this club when everybody knows me. So it's not a matter of using FC as a stepping stone to politics. For example, before I became chairman FC, I had vied for a parliamentary seat, sponsored myself. I had vied for a gubernatorial seat. I vied for Nairobi governorship with Peter Kenneth. So I was not coming to FC.
And you also executed an election very quickly at Nyayo Stadium some time back.
Yes.
In about an hour flat.
That tells you.
What happened
that tells you. We have been looking at this club, and as I started this interview, I was telling you, this club took me to school from 2 to university. So we have to give back to the community. When we were doing that election, the officials who were there, they were aloof. They didn't know what to do, what needs to happen, despite the fact that they had a lot of money from Mumias. So my coming in is purely to put in structures.
Do you feel there is need for fan education sometimes on matters football, and especially matters FC Leopards?
Yes, and we are starting that with this new season. a lot of things we haven't done.
What are you planning to tell them?
One, hooliganism.
Has
killed this game in this country. Let me tell you something. Do you know FC and Gor Mahia, for example? Just an example on Gor Mahia. Gor Mahia was bigger than Raila Odinga. Everybody could follow Gor Mahia from the Gor Mahia perspective. But now, Raila Odinga is bigger than Gor Mahia. If you come to Western, FC used to be the biggest thing, the glue of Western. But now we are seeing some funny political parties.
The other clubs that have come up in the area, Kakamega Homeboys and all that, have they eaten into a little bit of the fan base of FC Leopards? Western Steamer and all those ones?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Zero.
You don't think so?
Zero. Zero. In fact, they're even they're even marketing AFC more.
Because so then what are you going to tell the fans about hooliganism? What are you going to tell the fan education you're talking about for AFC Leopards? What does it involve?
Football is a profession. We know emotions run high,
deep, yes.
They run deep. You remember what was happening in Europe when Liverpool were playing Juventus when I don't know how many people died.
Yes,
yeah,
the stadium.
And they actually managed that. We want to tell our people, this is a profession where there's a winner and there's a loser. So when you come to the stadium, we are trying to attract the corporates, and they will want to come and see something run professional, something that will not spoil their name. So we make sure that when we are playing, for example, when we played some 2 matches with Gor Mahia, you've seen our fans breaking seats, doing I don't know what. That's wrong because it ends up punishing the club.
So it gives a bad impression of the product that you're trying to sell.
Yeah, the product that we're trying to build. I have a debt of 4.7 million. That's my 1 month's salary. Owing the sports stadia because of the seats which were broken. I've been given an invoice of 4.7. So we want to do education. We want to tell them the best way they can help the club and the club helps them because it's a symbiotic thing. When you're supporting FC, for example, your emotions, your feelings, your thinking, your well-being, the club can actually calm that. We have seen people killing themselves because of clubs in EPL. FC also has the same effect. For example, there's a time we played in Mombasa and Bandari beat us 4-1. I know of somebody, a wife, who was battered in Bungoma. All those kilometers, but because FC has lost. She has nothing to do with
but
FC.
That's not even partial, that's just domestic violence and all that.
No.
But let's
that domestic violence comes in because it's triggered.
Yes.
It's triggered by that.
So which means your fans want you to win all the time, which is not possible.
Yeah, there now is where we come in. We have to educate them. We will not win all our matches. But as a big club, we will strive to win most of our matches so that we remain where we are supposed to be. So that fan education is key. We need to invest in it. We need to invest in it. And the problem we have been having with this country, nothing has been invested in sports. Nothing, zero. We expect things to happen on their own. We expect
we expect miracles. We expect white and then it becomes black. Let me take you back to the glory days, just a little. Sekafa, 5 titles. 5 that FC Leopards holds. But when was the last one? And what's the plan to get another one? This was a team that is known in East and Central Africa and in Africa as well.
Yes. And after those 5 titles, you know, for Gor Mahia to win the Mandela Cup, FC the previous year had gone up to the semis. So our rivals picked from that and they went ahead and won. Bernard, it is important for this club to realize that we are a big club. Not any Tom, Harry and Dick can play for this club. And the problem which has been in FC, anyone who is free, he's brought in.
By who? Who brings them?
Come.
I thought you have now a definite recruiting process.
Yeah, now we have a definite
so that you recruit
process.
What you need other than recruiting what is in the market.
Yes. Now we are going towards that. But still, there's a lot of interference. I'm sorry to say this. There's a lot of interference because so many people out here think that I need to bring somebody, I need to do this, I need to do that. No. This club, you don't need to bring somebody. This club is supposed to go and get you.
For the quality that
you have.
And what the club needs.
And what the club needs. Okay. And I cannot tell you for free, without fear of any contradiction, there is where I must go. I will say I want Bernard, and it is you I want. Whatever somebody else tells me, that is his or hers. Because for you to win Eastern Central 5 times, you had the best players in the region. If you don't have best players in the region, if a club like Sofapaka or Tusker or Gor Mahia or Ulinzi can pay better salaries than FC, then I am not doing the right thing.
Okay.
I have
This,
to get...
this interference, as we wind up, where is it coming from? Is it?
Of course, this is a community club.
Absolutely, yes.
And you'll have everybody saying, I have seen a very good player, and they will camp in your phone. They will go talk to the coaches. They'll talk to everybody. And now that we have a strategic plan and we know the policies that we are putting in place in terms of recruitment, I can say, maybe without fear of any contradiction, that maybe this will be the last season we'll be playing with the players who are not automatic choices for the national team. But for me to win Africa, I must have players who are in their national teams. Because, Bernard, you will not reinvent the wheel. If you're not in your national team, you're not the best player. Let's not lie about what do you want. If you're not in the national team, you're not the best player. So if I have people playing for FC and they're not in the international, they're not in the national team, what am I communicating to my people? I'm saying we are second rate to somebody else. I know we've had a lot of problems with finances. So at times getting players, the ones you want. For example, I've talked to a number of players. There are players who want 3 million to just put a signature. The highest was 4 million. And you scratch your head, I need this guy. Where will I get 4 million? If
what is that, the sign-on fee?
The sign-on fee. And a salary of 300,000. If I'm getting 5 at 3 million, that's 15 million.
Which you need to run the club.
So
it makes it difficult sometimes, doesn't it?
That is half my sponsorship. So
Dad, tell me something then. We are going into a very uncertain, I don't know if it's certain or uncertain period of elections in Kenyan football. What's your take on it?
I think these are the dark moments of Kenyan football when it comes to elections. But my take on it, I would like to be very sober because a lot of things have gone wrong because we actually get it wrong at the elections. And I would like to tell any football stakeholder, it is wrong and very unfortunate for you to come during elections and start calling the shots. You haven't been anywhere for the last 4 years. Then you just appear, oh, these elections must be free and fair, oh, what, you run to court. For heaven's sake, there are millions, and I'm telling you from a point of information, there are millions of people depending on this football. And when you come last minute and spoil everything, that we cannot finish elections to move to the next level, let's go to elections. The person who will be elected must come in office and do the right thing. Because we will not give you an opportunity, Bernard, especially me. I think you know me. You were elected, you're not coming to do the right thing, we will throw you out of office. So, elections have been a thorn in the flesh in our football. Reason being, we disappear when people are trying to put structures in football. Then come 3 months to election. Then we hold everybody at ransom. Somebody has gone to Kisumu court, another one Mombasa, another one I don't know where. Why? If you're a footballer, for example, I vied in the last federation election and lost to Petra. Yeah? So many people don't know what happened. I was number 2 to her, then we went for a runoff. A runoff, all my people who are there now, it was obvious. If Nick has been elected the president, then now they'll just...
They aligned themselves to one side, yes.
But I didn't run away. I had to go back to the drawing board and decided what role can I play. And even if I could have lost the AFC election, there's so much that I can do. So, I am still in football, trying to know, I know very well, if I can put a structure in AFC, it will help Kenyan football.
You have been in this football for long as well. I think you do remember that it is similar wrangles that ended up into having a company called KPL.
Yes.
Are we going back there again?
I can say nope,
No.
because what I think we are trying to do, we are trying to involve everybody. When we came up with KPL maybe, and I might not be knowing everything, a few people formed it and ran away with it, and then now attracted the others because there was something on the table. But this one, FKF, all of us, the 18 Premier League clubs, have been involved. And when they have been involved, we know very well, yeah, we've had this, there's been a problem between KPL and the federation, and this is what I say, and this is my personal view. Bernard, if I have a problem with you, why don't I sort it out with you before it is too late?
So sit down and iron out the issue.
Iron out the issue.
Okay.
I think the 4 years we've had, Nick Mondo started saying very early when they started working, this thing is not, yeah? And to be honest, it came until last minute is when now we in KPL, we want to react.
Okay.
We want to react.
You think it's a little bit too late for reactions?
I thought it was too late. If we went that way, we'll actually be fighting. Okay. We'll be fighting football. Because let's just be honest and professional. The little that I can do, let me do. And then exit. There's so much. For example, when I leave FC, I know there's so much I can do for football. I want to become a football ambassador. Okay. I want to see my country going to the World Cup before I exit this world. And how can we go to the World Cup? If we work all of us.
If we put the structures together. Brilliant. Maybe just one last thing about the structures you're putting together to make sure this is available to everybody and that this actually
And you should buy one, Ben. When it will be in the shop. No, not now. We'll still work in progress.
This one I've already touched, so this is going to be mine. And I'll pay for it when you'll want me to. But just a quick one on how then to be able to elevate community clubs to a level that they become businesses to everybody else who's watching this.
I will tell the community clubs for free. They actually have a massive following. A good example we've seen around our neighbor here. It is only us who limit the following. So if today I start by having a few things here and there, tomorrow I will have a public transport system for FC Leopards. I will have Nissans going to Western, going to Mombasa, branded FC making some money from that. And I can tell you, our people will patronage them because they believe in the product. What I want to do now, I want people to believe in the product. And that's why I'm out here trying to get players. I want to make noise as our noisy neighbors, but I want to get players who will make sure people believe in AFC Leopards brand.
Get you to where you want.
Yes.
All right.
So these things must work for this club. And they will work because there was nothing. Now there's a cup, although it's a little bit small. Yes. There'll be bigger ones for just
people
to take
with big appetites.
With people with big appetite. And there is where we want to go. If I can get 10 shillings from this, and I do 10,000.
You can also auction them to some of the big shots in one of them. Maybe you call a meeting for the big shots and don't go for 10 shillings, go for $1 million for each cup and let them just give it to you.
At least I'll be doing something than just going, please,
beg. Yes.
Oh yeah, help us. At the moment, it's unfortunate we are there, but slowly we are getting out of there, and we will get out of that. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. This has been a very candid chat about AFC Leopards, probably the most candid we've had in recent times about everything that is bedeviling AFC Leopards. And Dr. Dan Shikanda has laid it bare. He is going for nothing but greatness for this club. It may just start from the little of 10 shillings from the cup to maybe $1 million shillings of the cup. But then it might also just go to the writing on the ball. That one there. They are counting on this signature to open up a lot of things for football in this country as well. And I hope that they're not going to be let down. It is the hope of all other clubs as well that things will work out for football. And I think we have talked about it. From product, from strategic plans to processes, also going down to infrastructure. Not the first time that infrastructure is being mentioned in this, but that it is crucial to getting clubs to be able to do their best. We'll leave it at that for now. And hope to catch up again with you next week for another candid chat on what's happening in football. From the den at the AFC Leopards den with Dan Shikanda, we say thank you very much for your company. Let's make this work for all the clubs and for football in Kenya. Goodbye for now.